Inserting date and time into SQL Server database might be quite difficult if you didn't know the properties of date and time and the date format which can be inserted into SQL Server database. I am using JavaScript and non-JavaScript to insert date and time into the SQL Server database. If you use JavaScript, then date and time will be taken from the client computer, and if you use non-JavaScript, then date and time will be taken from the server computer. We are using JavaScript because JavaScript is lightweight and it doesn't load to the server, and date and time of certain countries is different right now. Example, India and America, date and time right now is different, so we use JavaScript. So use JavaScript and non-JavaScript according to the need of your project. First, let's learn how to insert date and time into SQL Server database using JavaScript. I have used here two text boxes. In this text box, I am going to display date and time, and in this text box, I am going to display date only. Now let's click onto the source and add the JavaScript. So click onto the source and scroll up, and just after the title bar, I will paste the JavaScript code for displaying date and time into the text box. If you want the date format in day, month and year, then simply uncomment this line, and if you want month, day and year, then simply uncomment this line, and if you want year, month and day in the date format, then simply uncomment this one. Most of the country uses day, month and year, so I will uncomment this line. Now I will show the first part of the JavaScript for displaying date and time, so that you can copy the JavaScript code. Now I will display the second part. So from this, it is the second part. You can copy the JavaScript code. I will provide this JavaScript code in the description so that you can copy. Now let's try to display the date and time into the text box. So click on the design and simply click onto this text box and type F4 and copy the ID of this text box. So simply copy it and go to the source and onto the JavaScript. This is for date time, so simply paste here. I have already pasted the name of the text box, so simply paste here if you want to display date and time. And if you want to display date, then simply copy the ID of this text box and paste it onto this on the JavaScript in which date only is displayed. So paste here. So this is for displaying date and this is for displaying date and time. If you don't want this date and time, you want only date, then simply comment the part simply uncomment the part which you don't want. So I don't want this date and time, then simply click on comment, then it will not be executed and date and time will not be displayed on the text box. But right now I am going to use it, so I will uncomment it. Now let's run the project and see whether date and time is displayed. So let's run. So date and time is displayed here. Now let's learn how to insert date and time into SQL Server database without using JavaScript. So click on the tool and expand this Ajax extension and drag and drop one script manager and select this script manager and click on source, and after this drag and drop one update panel, and within this update panel add a tag that is content template, and within this content template add a timer. Now click on the design and let's copy this date and time label and text box and this label also, and simply paste here, and let's design nicely. Now click onto the timer and type F4 and sends this interval to 1000, so that this clock will tick every 1 second. So 1000 means this clock will tick every 1 second. So change this property first. Now let's change the ID of this text box. So simply select and type F4 and scroll up, and I will change this text box name as datetime without underscore javascript and hit enter. In the same way, I will change this level text box ID as that underscore without underscore javascript, so that I didn't confuse. In the same way, I will change this level name as lb underscore display underscore without underscore javascript. Now let's try to display date and time and date in this text box. So double click onto this timer, and I will paste the code for displaying date and time into the text box. So if you want the date format in date, month, year, hour, minute, second, and AM, PM, then simply uncomment this one. And if you, in the same way, I want this date format in this format, so simply uncomment. So uncomment according to the need of your project. Most of the country uses date, month, year, so I will uncomment this 2 lines so that date and time will be displayed in date, month, and year, hour, minute, second, and AM, PM. Now let's run the project and see whether date and time is displayed in the text box. So let's run it. So date and time is displayed in the text box using without JavaScript but using timer. Now let's learn how to insert date and time into the SQL Server database. Let's first see my database. My database is database underscore date and time, and it has table called date underscore time underscore tutorial, and these are the field of my table, date underscore time, in which data type is date and time. In this, date and time will be saved here, and next field is date, and its data type is date, in which date will be stored here. Now let's write the code. So simply double click onto this insert button. First let's add some namespaces. So scroll onto the top and type here using system.data.sql client or SQL client, and using system.configuration. These 2 namespaces are used for connecting SQL Server database. Now I will paste the code for inserting date and time into the SQL Server database. So I will double click and I will paste the code. So this is the code for inserting date and time into the SQL Server database. In this first line of code is for connecting SQL Server database. In this double quote, I have to use one connection string name. So click on the Solution Explorer, then double click on web.config file, and after the configuration, I will take connection string. Within this connection string tag, I will add another tag, that is add then name equal to data underscore connection. You can give any name of your choice, then connection string. Then click on the server, right click on data connection, then click on add connection, and now click on change and make sure you select this Microsoft SQL Server. If you are using free version, that is SQL Express, then type /SQL Express and select and change this and authentication mode to Windows authentication and select the database. I am using full version, so I will click on the server name and select my server and change this authentication to SQL Server authentication and provide the username and password of my SQL Server and select the database. My database is database datetime and click on test connection, then click on OK, then click on OK and right click on this connection and click on properties and click onto this connection string, Control A, Control C, copy it and paste it over this connection string and change this asterisk or password with the password of my SQL Server, that is admin@123, and save it. Now let's go to the code again and double click the insert button. In this code I have to copy the connection string name, that is data_connection, copy it and paste it over this double quote. The first line of code is for connecting SQL Server database. So the first line is for connecting SQL Server database and the second line is for SQL command, and my SQL command is insert into that_time_tutorial, which is the database name of my data, which is the database name, and that underscore time, that is the field of my table and its value will be taken. So here I am converting textbox data_date_time_javascript, which is the ID of this textbox. So which is the ID of this textbox. So I am converting this whatever the date format into the date format in which SQL Server, in which the date can be inserted into SQL Server. So I am converting it to date time and converting the text of the date_time JavaScript into the format year, month, day, hour, minute, second and time. So it will convert whatever the date format into this format, which is the format in which SQL Server can be inserted. Now in the same way I am converting the second text box date_JavaScript into this format. So this is for inserting date only, and this code is for inserting date and time. And I am opening the connection and executing the SQL command and closing the connection, and if it is successful, it will display successful in this level, which is the ID of this level, it will display SAP in this level. Now let's run the project and see whether it works or not. So click on the insert button, so it displays SAP successful, so data is inserted into the SQL Server database. Now let's see my database. So let's right click the database and click on edit, so the date and time is inserted. So the format in which the SQL Server insert date and time is year, month, date, and this is the format of the time and this is the format of the time. So I am converting this text box format into the SQL Server format. Now let's try to insert this date and time without using JavaScript. So simply copy this one button and paste it over here and click F4 and click on event and simply clean this, click event and double click onto this insert button and copy the same. The code is almost same, so copy it and double click and paste it over here. In this I have to change the text box ID, so I will simply copy this text box ID and change the text box ID. So copy the ID of this text box and double click on it and simply change this text box ID. So simply change with this. In the same way, copy the ID of this text box and change with that, change the name with, change the text box ID with this ID. Now let's run and see whether it works or not. I have forgotten one thing, so double click onto this label on this insert button and let's change this label name. So select this label and simply copy this label name. Now double click on this insert button and change this label ID or name. Now let's run and see whether it works or not. So click it insert button, so it is successful.